Bum 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 bum. Fruit Cider Cosplay.
Hello, Vida from FCC here. I decided to make a video on your first cosplay. So be doing that. I don't think I've ever really spoken on camera for FCC before, just like straight up spoken by myself. So I will note that I'm a very awkward person. This is Prince Richard, by the way. He's royal. Before I start, I wanted to make a quick note. FCC is available in other languages. We can respond to comments in multiple languages. We have 2 members, or possibly just 1, who are learning Japanese. We have a member who knows conversational German to the point where she could hold a conversation with you. And we have a member who knows Spanish. I'm not sure how fluent she is, because I don't think she's spoken in a while, but she knows Spanish. And then I myself used to speak Korean. I'm not too great on it, but if you left a comment in Korean, I could probably respond to it. And I study French, so bringing that all together, FCC can speak English, Spanish, German, French, Korean, and in the future Japanese. So if you speak another language and you watch FCC, feel free to leave a comment in your language if it's one of those. I plan to study a lot more languages, so that list will expand depending on who decides to study what. So, but yeah, we love languages, we love cultures, we love people from other places, so I thought that this would be a good video to start off with in terms of just like speaking videos, because a lot of people see our cosplays and then ask us for like tutorials and stuff, and like we've done tutorials and we're okay with doing tutorials, and that's totally great, but like I think it would be helpful for a lot of people to talk about how to even go about their first cosplay, because a lot of people seem to be inspired by us or inspired by cosplay groups in general and want to cosplay and admire cosplayers that have been doing it for years and years and years, and want to be that good. And I'll tell you now, this is going to sound harsh, but I'll tell you now, your first cosplay is probably not going to be as good as someone who's been doing it for 10 years. And I mean, that's just truth, that's just life. A lot of us that have been doing it for a really long time know techniques that take years to master, like gem casting and, or years to work up to, really. Like gem casting and LED light installation and a lot of prop making stuff, like really complex stuff, as in like making things that actually function mechanically. Like that's something that cosplayers who've had a lot of experience usually do. Your first cosplay is probably going to be kind of questionable. It might fall apart a bit, but honestly all of ours do. And it might not be as great as you imagine it would be in your head, and that's okay. You're not really gonna like know what to do, and that's okay. You're going to learn more, and for a first cosplay, you should probably choose something simple. You should probably choose something that you identify with, or a character that you've admired for years, you know, a character that you really know. It helps if you've done theater. It always helps if you've done sewing before. It helps if you've done crafts. But what's really going to give you the upper edge is just experience. So for your first cosplay, you just want to pick something that suits you and something you love, and put your all into that. Maybe just do one cosplay for the whole con and just put your all into that. And then go to that con and then meet people who cosplay, and you can learn so much from other cosplayers. A lot of the techniques that I've learned have been from other cosplayers or people on Tumblr who post about cosplay, or like cosplay blogs. Like, you just get a lot of information over the years from existing in the cosplay community, which is amazing that we have such a community that you can do that, and you can just kind of go and meet different people, and they can teach you things, and they can help you with things, and they sometimes I've had people offer to sew me things. So like, so I lost my train of thought. So I mean, for your first cosplay, try to thrift most of it, and try to only sew minimal things. If you don't know how to sew, that is. If you know how to sew, then you're golden, but like, you can probably start with something a little bit harder. Your first con or your first meetup, when you start cosplaying, what you don't want to do, there's a lot that you don't want to do. Bunny and I are probably going to make a video on this in the future. We're definitely going to make a video on this. I just don't know if it's going to be Bunny or myself and Bunny and some other members of FCC. But that's basically going to mostly be about respecting other people and respecting other people's cosplays and not touching people. That's a big one, because a lot of times, like, it doesn't happen very often, but when I'm wearing some cosplays, if you touch them, they'll fall apart. One of these, that's a great example for me, speaking from personal experience, is Alois Trancy, because if you touch him, sometimes the buttons will fall off, or the starching in the collar will fall apart and like flop down and back. It'll look really strange. This is also just kind of a PSA, don't touch me. But that being said, yeah, you don't want to touch other cosplayers. What you want to do is you want to go and you can compliment them. Honestly, if they don't take your compliment, then they probably aren't going to be your friend anyway, and you shouldn't try. But try to compliment other cosplayers, try to be a part of the community. Just the overall thing that really impresses us, us being seasoned cosplayers who've been in the community, is respect. Like, if you come up to me, for example, and I'm in Alois, if you're like, I don't mind screeching, I don't mind fangirling, but if you touch me, that's where I draw the line. I don't really want to be friends with you if you do that. It just sets me off. It just like moves me away from you and says, oh, that's someone who doesn't respect me and just sees me as Alois Trancy. Don't do that. If you're screeching and fangirling and like super excited about my cosplay, I love that, because that means that I portray the character well. That means that you're reading me as that character. So that's really big. But some cosplayers don't like fangirling or screeching. I love it. I adore it. But what you want to do definitely is just compliment that person. And then, like, you can start a conversation with them, because we are real people, we talk. So you can start a conversation with the cosplayer as long as they're not, like, too busy or eating. And, like, after you get your picture and you compliment them, just be like, hey, you're really cool. And then, like, talk about the philosophy of whether or not the Titans are evil. Like, just start a conversation with them if they have the time. And it really, so we're gonna touch more on this in another video, but that's the basics. Respect people. Makeup, this is gonna be really quick. Wear it. The thing is, you're falling into a theater role when you cosplay, and when you're portraying a character. If you're doing it for fun, that's fine. I don't really mind. But like, if you're trying to gain popularity, or if you're trying to become a name in the cosplay community and become known, wear makeup. It makes you go from just you, which is wonderful and perfect anyway, but it goes from you to an alter ego, which I think is really big. It makes the character very much not you. And especially when I become some of my characters, I never wear false eyelashes. I hate them. But when I become most of my characters, I wear false eyelashes because they have bigger eyes and it makes me feel a little bit more fake, a little bit more anime. And like, that's kind of what you're going for. Sadly, you're going for fake. It takes like a couple layers of foundation and it's really uncomfortable, but like, look up cosplay tutorials and like how to become certain characters before you leave for the con, and practice it, and I am certain that you'll get pictures taken of you. Your first con, your first cosplay, you might not get too many pictures taken of you, that's okay. You will over time, and especially if you have an impressive cosplay or people just like you sometimes, they'll take pictures of you. It's really, really empowering, it's really inspiring. I made most of my friends through cosplay. I made most of my FCC are all my lifelong friends. I love them so much. I wouldn't know most of them if I didn't cosplay, or I wouldn't be at least as close to them as I am without cosplay. And if you are thinking about getting into cosplay, my advice is do it, and then everything I talked about in the rest of this video. So if you have any questions, please put them in the comments so that we can answer, because this is really important to me, and which is kind of silly, but it's really important to me. And I wish you luck on your first cosplay. So goodbye from me and Prince Richard.